I'm the president of the Historic Stagville Foundation, and it's the friends group that helps the Historic Stagville historic site, owned by the Department of Cultural Resources. So what we're doing today is we've got chef and food historian Michael Twitty, who's going to be coming out doing an entire day-long demonstrations of African-American foodways before the Civil War. We're sitting here in Horton Grove, which is one of the preserved enslaved communities with some of the original slave structures that were built by 1850.
Today here at Historic Stagville, we're preparing a dinner in honor of the ancestors who lived here, enslaved people who lived on this plantation in the colonial and antebellum times. There were over 900 enslaved people here, 30,000 acre plantation, corn, wheat, tobacco, and cotton. A lot of history here, a lot of legacy. We're making barbecue the traditional way, okra soup, green beans, potatoes, sweet potatoes, all the good stuff. But just to reflect the diversity of the food that they had and what they were doing at the time.
We are going to be cooking over here at the pit. We're going to do beef stew. We're also going to do peach cobbler. I'm going to bake sweet potato biscuits. We're going to do sweet potato pone, field peas, like the cloves and the onion. Spices that we're used to today being only for desserts. Cloves, nutmeg, cinnamon, they're excellent and savory dishes, and we're actually going to use that to flavor our beef stew with today. We're frying chicken. I'm going to use nutmeg to fry the chicken with, and it cuts down a lot on having to need salt. We're going to bake a pork roast in it. It's a clay baking dish. So we will end up putting it down into the coals over there, and we're going to bake our pork roast. You can do a chicken in it. Whatever, and of course it has the wonderful nutmeg and everything else ground up on it. So we are going to test this out. This is the first time I've seen one shaped like this, so we're going to experiment.
On a plantation like this, what do you think you're going to eat every day? Not that. Mush, thank you. Mush made out of what?
Corn.
Corn, thank you. There you go. I know where I am right now. Corn was the biggest source of calories. And a lot of times those calories were empty. So that causes a lot of nutritional deficiencies, diseases, other stuff. Unless you make it into hominy. Hominy is not just grits. Like you know, hominy look like big pearls of corn. It was soaked in lye, and then it was washed out. You could dry it, break it down further to make it into grits, which is a lot of work, or you could just eat it as is. And when you eat it as is, it increases the niacin and other essential amino acids, which means that you can actually live off of it instead of it just being a food that goes in and goes out. If it goes in and goes out, you get no nutrients from it. You can get diseases like pellagra and other stuff that makes you sick. Very sick. What do you think the main protein is?
Green.
Oh, come on now. It's right there on that pork, yes. And this is not old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O. The pigs would, a lot of times the pigs in large plantations, they weren't locked away in an area. They would go out in your property, which is fenced in, and forage, and they would run around, and they took very little care to what breeds they raised until the 19th century. Then somebody finally figured out, okay, I guess we don't want half wild hogs running around all the time that have tusks on them, so we should probably breed them for certain characteristics. But at any rate, they would let them roam in the oak hickory forest where they ate acorns and chestnuts, and they fattened up, and you know what happens in wintertime. So at that time of the year, that's when you get your salt pork, fatback, other stuff like that. It was easy to preserve. Sometimes it wasn't even smoked. It was just put in a barrel of salt water, and it stayed there. And that was, and by the way, this is not an entree, okay? This is not, I'm gonna cut some pork off and have that. No, this went into a pot of vegetables or corn. So get this, if I could do this demonstration for you the real way, I'd have you come here and the only thing you'd see on this table would be a thing of corn mush or some hominy or just plain corn, whole cake cornbread and maybe a salt herring or some salt pork. You come back the next day, same thing. Once you have dinner next day, same thing. And that would have been very accurate. Then you come back 2 weeks later and have a rabbit on the table, and your eyes are brightened because you would get it. You'd understand. That rabbit would make you feel so excited because fresh meat, something different, not the same thing every day.